Hi everybody, it's Kelly with Soulful Creations, and today I'm doing something so different from me. I'm sewing with leather. This is the JeroniMore Bag by Casey Original. And if you've seen her JeroniMore bag, then you really gonna love the JeroniMore bag because it's even more of it. It's a little bigger. So I was a little scared at first, but she makes it so easy to sew. This bag, I mean, she thought about everything. She considered those that are sewing on a domestic machine, and you can do this. If I can do this, I'm telling you, you can do this. So what's good about this bag? Everything. Okay, so we have this flap with a zipper on the flap. On the back, we have a zipper pocket. Okay, this is a little cute little magnetic closure with this little under this little buckle here, right? So we open that up, and here's another zipper pocket. Okay, so we have that zipper pocket here, a 3D zipper pocket. Behind that is a slip pocket. Pockets, I love pockets. Okay, and then there's a recessed zipper, so everything's nice and secure. And inside there's another slip pocket, and there's plenty of room for everything you need. So this little messenger bag, I mean, you can just carry this every day. This is going to be my new everyday bag, because yes, I'm keeping this. I didn't make my first all leather bag to give it away or sell it. I'm keeping this. Okay, so also look at this cool braid detail on the strap. Isn't that so cute? That is so cool. So she teaches you how to do all of that, okay? And there's also a bonus key fob with the same braiding technique that you can do. I just haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it because I'm always looking for my keys inside my purse. So I'm going to do that key fob. So you have a nice long adjustable strap. This bag is wonderful, and I'm so proud of myself that I was able to make it. And I want you to get this pattern so you can be proud of yourself. So this, again, like I said, is the JeroniMore Bag by Casey Original, and we're going to get ready to sew it. So follow along with me. Let's get ready to go. So let's discuss what we need to cut out for our JeroniMore bag. So you will need to cut from your leather a front and back panel. Okay, and they're the exact same pattern piece. And then you will need a flap front, your flap front, and your flap back. And if you notice, they're cut mirrored because they're going to go wrong sides together. Okay, so a front and back flap. You will need a front slip pocket piece, a back pocket piece, and this one has a zipper window cut out. You will need a front zipper pocket piece. And all this is cut from your leather. You will also need to cut your gusset piece. And if your leather is not too thick, you need to decide if you're going to stabilize it or not. So I went ahead and stabilized mine with some Decaville Light. So if you feel like it's good enough and you want your bag to be a little softer and not as structured, then you may want to leave the stabilizer off. So that's the gusset. Okay, your main gusset. And then you'll need to cut one of your front pocket zipper gusset pieces. So let me grab that. This one also has a cutout for the zipper. So that's what this piece looks like. So this is the front pocket zipper gusset piece. Okay, so cut one of those. Okay, you will Also from your leather, we have these smaller pieces here to cut out. So you will need to cut 2 zipper placket pieces. Okay. 2 of your lining tops. Okay, so 2 of those. You will need your slip pocket trim. Okay. So let me set these aside here. Move those out of the way. Okay. You will also need to cut 2 strap connectors. So 2 of those. 2 flap straps. Okay, they look very similar to the strap connectors, but there's some markings on the flap strap that you'll have to mark for your rivets. Okay. Then there's the buckle strap. Okay, so 1 of those. And then she has this cute leather hang tag that you can also cut out. So 1 of those. And for the strap, you will need to cut from your leather, 1 piece from your leather for the strap. And then also these little strips are for the weaving technique that we're going to put on the strap. And also you will need a piece of 1-inch webbing. So that's it as far as the leather goes. And now we have the lining. And then from your lining, you will cut 2 of your front and back lining pieces. I'm using this waterproof canvas. If you're using cotton, go ahead and interface it with a woven interfacing. So that's the front and back. This is 1 slip pocket piece. Again, interface if you're using cotton. Okay. And 2 of your zipper placket lining pieces. So 2 of those. And that is it for your lining. Okay. So these are all the pieces that you will cut out for your JeroniMore bag. It's a few pieces, but I mean, they cut out fairly quickly. So, go ahead and cut that out. Have your pieces ready. And let's then come back and talk about the hardware that you'll need. Okay, so you should have all your pieces cut out for your JeroniMore bag. And I'm just going to go quickly over the hardware that you'll need. So you will need a 1-inch buckle. Okay, I got most of my hardware is from Amann bags. So I have a 1-inch buckle. I have a 1-inch tri-glide adjustable slider here. You will need a magnetic snap, and she recommends and is strongly encouraged for you to use the rivet kind. So you will, this kind rivets on because you will be top stitching around those small connector pieces, and it's going to be hard to top stitch with the type that has the prongs that you will close. So the rivet stays out of the way. So a magnetic snap with rivet. Also, you will need a 1-inch rectangle ring. You will need a, excuse me, I'm always dropping something. You will need a zipper end. You will also need, there are 3 different sizes of rivets. So I have like 10 millimeter, 9 millimeter, 6 millimeter. So 3 different size rivets. Also, you're going to need 4 pieces of zipper tape. Okay. I know that's 3. I can count. The other one was hiding. So 4 pieces of zipper tape. Okay, and the sizes, of course, are in the pattern. So have your zipper tape cut out. And with that, you will need your 4 zipper pulls. So 4 zipper pulls. If you're going to use a label, have your label. I'm going to use this one that says custom made. Again, it's from Amann. Because in my own logo, I don't have any in antique ghost or antique brass. So I'm going to use this one. And then for that cute little hang tag, you can have this little ball chain. So this one is, it's kind of short, but it's about 4 inches. That's long enough. So this one will go on the little hang tag. So one of those, it's optional. If you're not using the hang tag, you won't need it. So this is the hardware you're going to need. There's also some other supplies. Since this bag is for leather, it's made for leather, okay? It can be done in vinyl, but I would not recommend it. This is made for leather. So, and she has made the pattern where you can you can make this pattern on a domestic machine, because she has constructed it in a way where, for the most part, you're only sewing through 2 layers of leather. So it can be done on a domestic machine. And for those of us like me, I usually sew with vinyls. This pattern is a good pattern for those of us that don't sew with leather all the time. So there's some things that you need that you might not have on hand if you're not used to sewing with leather. So you need this Tokono burnishing gum. Okay, this will remove all the fuzzies from the edges of your leather, because you will have raw edges. Okay, you can also use edge paint. Okay, if you prefer to use edge paint. There's also this little tool. This is for burnishing the edges as well. So you can apply this. She says you can use a cotton cloth, or you can use this burnishing tool along with it. You make sure you have some really sharp scissors, a rotary blade. There's a few pieces that she recommends that you skive to keep the bulk down, especially if you have a leather that is more than 3 ounces, which that's not really recommended. But if you do, you're going to need to skive these pieces, and they're identified in the pattern. So you need some type of a hand skiver, or if you're used to doing leather, you may have a machine that skives the leather. So, but otherwise, you should have pretty much everything on hand. Another thing she mentions is optional is these little needles here for weaving, because the strap has this nice weave technique that we're going to be doing. So this needle is especially made for weaving leather in and out those holes. So we can use that, or we can just use a regular pair of tweezers as well. So I think that's pretty much it. Also, as far as needle, those of us that are used to sewing with vinyl, you might be using a larger size needle. Sometimes I'm using a 19, sometimes a 20, depending on my vinyl. So really, I switched to a smaller needle. She recommends an 18 or leather needle if you're using a domestic machine. So just keep that in mind as well. But everything else should be status quo. The pattern is very detailed and written well. So without further ado, let's get started making our JeroniMore bag by KC Original. Welcome back to Making the JeroniMore Bag by KC Original. So we should have everything cut out, prepped, have all your hardware materials. Now, the first thing we're going to do is make the back panel. So you should have one of your main panel pieces, your pocket piece, your zipper pocket piece, your zipper, the appropriate zipper, with the zipper pull on. And I prep my zipper the way she states in the pattern. Have some double-sided tape. And one thing I want to mention is you will need some leather glue for this project. So I have this Aquilum 315. I think that's how you pronounce it. But I got it from Amazon. So I'm going to be using this one for the parts that need glue. So I did not mention that earlier. So I just wanted to mention that. Okay, and I will have a list of all the materials and things that I use in the description of this video. So let's start. So we're going to first take our pocket piece and let's flip it over to the wrong side. And we're going to add some strips of double-sided tape on both sides of the zipper window. So keeping it out of the window, about 1/4 inch away from the window, so we don't have to sew through it. Okay. And then I'll do another. Okay. All right. And now we're going to remove the backing. I just do one side at a time. Okay. And I'm going to place the zipper so that the zipper pull is going to the right. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that the zipper pull is lined up in the window. Okay. And before I go ahead and press that in place, I'm going to check and make sure that it looks good from this side. Okay. So it needs some adjusting. So just make sure that your zipper teeth are centered in that window. Okay. So do not press down until you are ready and sure that it is straight. Okay. So this is why I like to just do one side at a time. Okay. And that looks pretty good there. Now I can lift this up and remove the other piece of paper off this double-sided tape. Okay. And now I will place the other side once my zipper pull gets out of the way. Okay. And make sure that's centered and even. Okay. And once you get it where you want it, and it looks great to you, okay, now make sure that it's pressed in place, and it should look like that. Okay, so now we're going to top stitch around this zipper window, and we're not going to back stitch. I mean, you can if you want, but it looks a lot neater if you don't. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to find a place to start, and with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going. I have my stitch length at a 5, and I'm going to go ahead and go around this window here and take my time. going to slide the zipper, pull back out of the way, and continue. Now this zipper window is rounded, so when you get around these curves, if you want, you can hand crank, because it is a tight little curve here. So if you want it to look nice, I'm just hand cranking just to make sure that I'm placing this exactly where I want it. Okay. There we go. There. All right. That looks good to me. So I will continue on. Now I will move my zipper, pull back the other way. But first I'm going to pull this tail through to the back, so I can tie that off later and it's out of the way. Okay, so I'm getting back around to the curve. So I'm just taking my time. I'm going to hand crank around this curve. Okay. And now I'm back straight. And I'm going to stop right in the hole I started in. There we go. Now, oops. Okay. Punctured my leather a little. Dropped the needle too soon. Oh well. Okay. So now I'm going to pull that thread to the front, to the back, and I will tie these off. Okay. And you can burn it. You can burn the ends or add a little glue. Okay. And there's our zipper attached. Okay, looks good. Okay. So now we're going to get ready to attach our zipper pocket to our main panel. Okay, so there's some measurements that we need. Okay, so let me grab my ruler. Okay. So we're going to measure from the top here, okay, about 1.5 inches from the top, and we're going to use a silver marking pen to draw a line there. 3/4 of an inch from the sides and the bottom. Okay. And now we know where to place this. We'll line it up with the marks on the side, the top, and the bottom. Okay. Okay. I'm just making sure it's looking okay. All right. Now I'm going to flip this back over, and we're going to add some double-sided tape, okay, to around the pocket. Jazzy, pause. I placed the 1/8 inch double-sided tape along the back of my zipper pocket here. So it's best to use the 1/8 inch and get it as close to the edge as possible. So that way when you top stitch your pocket on, you won't have the tape residue inside your pocket, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the paper backing off the double-sided tape, and then we're going to place it onto our panel. So right within these lines that we drew, we're going to center it. Okay. Make sure it's nice and centered and okay. Oops. So don't press too hard until you get it right in place. Okay, so once you're happy with your placement, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to top stitch it in place at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, I'm just making sure everything looks good here. Okay, that looks good to me. So we're going to go around the 3 sides, not across the top, of course. Oh no, I'm sorry. We're going to top stitch around the whole thing here. Okay, so because remember, this is a zipper pocket, not a slip pocket. Okay, so let's get ready. I was thinking slip pocket for a second. Okay, so bury your stitches. Do not back stitch if you want it to look nice and neat. So keep some tails hanging there and take your time and go around. And I'm just using the edge of my walking foot here as a guide. And go slow, just using my hand to kind of gently turn it as I go around the curves. To just adjust this just a little bit. It seems like it's, there we go. Okay. I'm just adjusting this just a tad bit. I can see it's just a little bit off there, so just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Okay, so once I get to this corner, I'm going to go pivot and go across. And I will end in the same hole that I started in. I should have pulled this tail through here first though, so let me go ahead and do that. It's wiser to do it before you get there, but it's okay, I can still get it. Okay, so now I think one stitch ought to do well. So 2.5. And I'm just going to drop it right in the hole that I started it. There we go. Okay. So now I'll pull this to the back. And I did stabilize my panels, my front and back panels with some Decaville light. Because like I said earlier, my leather's not that thick. So I want a more sturdier, structured type of bag. Okay, so tie those off. I just like to burn the ends there. Okay, so there we go. So now we have our pocket. Really functional there. Okay, so that looks good. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna grab our pieces for our the back of our flap, and we'll come back and do that. Okay, so you should have your 2 flap pieces, okay, your front and back, your flap straps, 2 flap straps, your buckle strap, your 6.5-inch zipper, your logo if you're using one, the smaller rivets, the 6mm rivets, your male portion of your magnetic snap, and your buckle. Okay, so we also going to need some double-sided tape and some glue for this part. So just get all your materials ready. So we're going to start off with the front part of the flap, and we're going to place our double-sided tape. We're going to do the zipper just like we did earlier on the back panel. So we're just going to put a couple of strips. Make sure you keep it out of the window. So about 1/4 inch or so away from the window. Okay, so just put in a couple of strips here. My zipper is already prepared and has the zipper pull on. Okay. So we want to make sure we orient our zipper with the zipper pull at the top. So that would be the top, okay? And we're going to get it centered in the window just like we did before. So right there, looks good. Okay, and now I'm going to remove a piece of the backing off my double-sided tape. Secure one side down. Okay, just not too much just yet, just making sure it's still where I want it to be. Okay, looks good. Okay, get my zipper pull out of the way, and we'll go ahead and we'll do the other side. Okay, and get that in place. So I'm just going to adjust it just a little bit here. And there we go. Okay. So it should look like that. And now we're going to sew around the zipper window, just like we did before. So just adjust it just a tad bit here. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to go top stitch around 1/8 of an inch. And again, we're not going to back stitch unless you want to. Okay, pivot around these corners, these turn here, just hand cranking if you need to make sure it looks as neat as possible. Okay, now back on the straight path. I love the texture in this leather. It looks so wrinkly. It's from Tandy, and I really like it. I like that it's just not a smooth. I love the smooth leathers too, but I just kind of like this one because it had texture, especially since I'm doing all black. So I wanted to have something with a little texture to it. Especially as I'm just learning about sewing with leather. It's so exciting. And this is such a great looking bag. I'm such a fan of hers. So this was exciting to be able to do this. Okay. Okay, so drop it right back in the hole you started in. Okay. Not super, well, not super perfect, but hey, who is? And I'm great, I'm loving it. I'm okay with it. Because guess what? I think I'm keeping this one for me. Yes, I will, because it's my first all leather bag, and I just don't want to sell it. So I'm keeping it. Okay. Okay. So there we go. And now we have our zipper there. Okay. And that looks great. Now, I also want to mention, if your leather is particularly, if it's thicker, she does recommend that this is the edge here that you would skive. So right at the top on both pieces, you would skive that to make it, because we are going to be putting these two pieces together, and it's going to get sewn onto your panel there, your back panel. So if it's too thick, you might have a hard time sewing through it, especially if you're using a domestic machine. But my leather is not that thick, so I think I'm going to be okay, and I don't need to skive it. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put on my logo. So I already have the placement marks there from the pattern piece. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the logo on. I like this little logo from Amann. Okay, so I'm just going to mark where I want this. I think I'm going to just keep it right there where those marks are. Okay. And I'm going to put my little slits there. Be very, very careful. Okay. There we go. Probably time for me to change out that blade. Okay. And put my label. Okay. And then she says you can either glue a piece of leather, thin leather on the back. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and use a piece of duct tape. Because that works too. Alrighty, so that looks good already. Okay, so now what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue our two pieces together. So this is where you need your leather glue. So again, I'm using this one, the Aquilum 315. I got it from Amazon. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the glue around the edges. So about, I think she says a 1/4 inch or let me just check real quick. I think she says 3/8. So about 3/8 of an inch of glue all around the border of both pieces. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use my little brush, and I'm going to do that. And we have to let it sit and sit for about 10-15 minutes. And then we're going to come back and we're going to put those together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll be back after we let it sit for a minute. I'm back after I have applied my glue to all the edges of both panel flat pieces. And I just want to make a note. I put duct tape on my label, but I did remember I'm not dealing with vinyl like I usually do. This is leather, and this is going to be the inside of my pocket. So I did follow the instructions. See, that's why you have to follow the instructions. And I glued a piece of leather to cover my the back of my label. So, because duct tape would not look nice inside this pocket. So, gotta do what I'm supposed to do, like a good little girl. So anyway, it's been sitting a little bit, and now it's pretty sticky there. So we're going to go ahead and take our flat pieces, and we're going to put them together, wrong sides together, matching up all the edges. Okay, so hopefully everything will match up pretty good, and I won't have to trim anything too much. So take your time and get everything lined up the best you can. If it's not perfect, don't worry, because you can trim it down later. Okay, so, and then I also want to mention that this buckle strap, I went ahead and added glue to the back, to the whole back of that as well, because we're going to get ready to add our buckle, and these two ends are going to meet and be glued together. So I just wanted to go ahead and have that ready to go. Okay, so, and this glue I'm using is a water-based glue, and there's no smell, which is a plus, and it sticks very nice on leather. I've tried to use it on vinyl before, and it didn't work as well on vinyl, so I haven't been using it. But it's meant for leather, and it's working really nice on the leather. So, and it doesn't, it allows you to kind of adjust too, if you need to. So, there we go. Alrighty, so that seems like that matched up nicely. So I'm glad I did a good job cutting that out. So I'm going to go ahead, and now we're going to, hold on, just as I say that, I see that I need to just match that up just a little bit better. Okay, because we want this to look nice. This is the front. This is the main focus, our bag, the flap here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to top stitch around this flap, but not across this straight edge, not across this top here. We're just going to go all around this whole thing. Okay, so we're going to start and stop here. And again, I'm going to pull my threads to the back, and we're going to secure those at the back. So no, I'm not going to be back stitching. So again, I'm just adjusting a little bit here that I see. Just want to get it as nice as I can. Okay, so that looks really good. So now I'm ready to go ahead and top stitch 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so I'm going to start right up here at the top. Right there. Drop my needle. Right there. Okay. And here we go. Okay. Pin leave it there. Okay. And just take your time, because we want these stitches to look nice and be pretty. Okay. Okay. Right at the corner. Now I can turn. Slight curve here. Okay. Another curve here. Take your time. Okay. And we're getting back up here to the top where we're going to stop. Okay. Make sure I'm where I want to be. There we go. And now we're going to secure these threads. Alrighty, that looks pretty good. And if there's anything that I need to trim just the slightest, I can do that. So I might just a tiny little pieces there, and then I can go back and I can reburnish these edges. Now this is the time where you can decide if you want to add some edge paint. That this will be the time to go ahead and do that. But I'm not going to. I like the way it's looking. Like I said, I think I'm just going to use some of that burnishing gum again and just go back over it after I trim a couple of little parts. But otherwise, I love the way it looks. So let me go ahead and secure these ends. And then we will do our flap strap and our buckle strap when we come back. Okay, so you should have your buckle strap piece, your rivet, the male portion of your rivet, and your buckle. So we're going to feed this in. So the marking for our rivet placement, so it should be at the bottom, okay? And then the buckle should be oriented this way, so with the stem up, okay? So we're going to feed this in through there, okay? Make sure that it goes up through the hole like that. So we're looking like that now. And then this slides down into the buckle here, okay? So we'll have it. And remember, we have glue on there because these two ends are going to be matched up and glued together. So let's go ahead and we're going to get that matched up. And again, if it's not a perfect match or if you're not comfortable with how it looks, then you can go ahead and trim it down and adjust it. Okay, so now it should look like that. And I think that looks okay. Okay, so now we are going to, we're going to make a line here. Okay, so 1 1/4 inches. Let me grab my ruler. 1 1/4 inches from the bottom. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and mark that line. This is so you know where you need to sew. Okay. And let me just make sure I'm right. Okay. Because that, let me make sure my placement for that is right. Which it is okay. It's right, okay. Because my rivet's gonna go right above there, okay. So we have our mark there, and we're gonna sew around. So around this line, down, around the bottom, and back up. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're gonna do that right now before we put our rivet. Okay. So, again, I'm not going to be back stitching. Okay. So, where do I want to start? I'm going to start right on that line. Right there. Okay. So, across. And it's a small, so I'm just going to take my time. Okay. See if I can, that buckle. Okay, the buckle's okay. Okay. And just sew. Now I'm going around this curvy bottom. So I'm just taking my time. Okay. That's good. And now, so let me go ahead and pull these thread to the back. Get out the way. Now I'm going to go back up. To the line. Okay. And then again, we're going to stop where we started, right in the same hole there. There we go. And we'll tie that off. Okay, so let me go ahead and secure these tails. And then we will add our rivet. Oh, come on. There we go. Let's to move around a little bit. Make sure we get it. Alrighty. Okay. And I will just, there we go. Alrighty. So now I'm just going to make the hole for my rivet. So I'll just take my mat here, just place my mat down real quick, and I'll just use this one. And we're going to make the hole for the rivet, for the magnetic snap. Okay, did I go all the way through? Not quite. Oops. Hold it. Did it go through? Okay, sometimes this thing works good and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, give it a good punch. This leather is a little tougher than vinyl. Ah, I got it through. Okay. Now, the male part, the rib goes on the back. Push that through. And we'll put the cap here. Okay. So it's going to look like that. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the setting tools that came with it, and I will set it in place. So I just used this little tool that came with it. So we have this tool, and for the male part, it just snaps right on there like that. And then we put this on top, and then we give it a couple of whacks with the hammer, and that sets it in place. So I won't whack on camera, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and set my rivet, and then I'm going to, I've already put glue on the backs of both of my flap straps. So because we're going to do that part next. So if you haven't, go ahead and put glue on both backs of your flap straps. So come back after I give this a couple of whacks. Okay, so our buckle strap is all ready. We can set that aside, and now let's grab our flap straps. Again, they have the glue on the back, so we're ready to go ahead and match those up. Okay, so let's get those wrong sides together, and we're just going to line them up. And like I said, hopefully I did a good job cutting them pretty good. Okay. And if I didn't, I will trim them up. Okay, but I think that looks okay. The front and the back look pretty good. Okay, I see a little part there. I do need to just trim just a tiny bit right there. Okay, just right there. Okay, just that little bit. Okay. All right, so that looks pretty good to me. I say that as I find something else to trim. Okay. You know, we don't need your commentary, Jessie. Alrighty, so I think that looks pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, Jessie, that's enough. Okay. Hey, I can't help it. I can't help that. All right. Now, for real, it looks okay. Oh, no, I'm just playing. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to sew around the whole thing, okay? We're going to top stitch, again, 1/8 of an inch. And if I need to trim it a little bit more, I will. But I think, I mean, it looks pretty good too. Well, I can see right there. Uh-oh. You know, I'm good for dropping stuff. Because then I never go and put stuff back after I use it. So, you know. And then Jazzy's so good to come and pick it up for me. Okay. So sorry if I banged that in your ears. Okay. That's why I should put stuff back. Okay. I'm just such a, you know, I'm just such a stickler for every little thing. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and sew. So I'm going to just start right here on the, well, do I want to start there? No, I'm going to start up here because this part will be attached to the flap. Okay, so I'm starting right up here where the rivets will go later. Okay. And this, really take your time because there are some tiny little curves. So I'm just going to go around and take my time. And that hand cranking really comes in handy here. Okay. And let's see. I am there. And I'm going to go around this little curve here. I think that looks good right there. Okay, we want to stitch too much. There we go. And now I'm gonna go straight. Okay, and I'm back at this little curve here. And get over here in this corner. So do not be afraid to use that hand crank. Okay, I'm going to pull this to the back while I can. And go. And now. We're almost there. Okay. This one. 2 more stitches. Okay, back in that hole there. Alrighty. Alrighty, that looks good, good, good. Am I pulling the right thread? There we go. Okay, so that looks good. I know it's hard to see with the black. Okay, so sorry about that. I should have used a contrasting thread, and then that really would have made my life crazy. But it would have made it easier for you to see. But trust me when I tell you, it looks pretty darn good. I wouldn't lie to you. I would not lie to you. Okay, so I'm just tying these off. Okay. Alrighty. And we will cut that and burn that down. Okay, just alrighty. That looks nice. That looks nice, nice, nice. Okay, so I really think somebody's been coming in my sewing room and moving my things around. That would be me. Okay, so now we have from our pattern piece, we have the placement marks for our rivets. So I'm going to go ahead and punch those out. Ooh, did you hear how that sounded? Okay. Ooh, it did again. Ooh, one more time. Well, 2 more times. Oh, that's so satisfying. What's that stuff called that you guys watch, Jazzy?
ASMR.
Yeah, that's what it is. ASMR, huh? The kids watch that stuff. Okay. And then we also mark the placement on our flap because that's where we're going to put them right there. So before I just go punching the holes in my flap all willy-nilly, even though I have these marks there, but I just want to make sure. So I can see the placement marks right there through the holes, and they are lining up. So I'm okay with going ahead punching those holes as well. So we're going to punch those holes too. Okay. There we go. One more. Just like that. Okay. Now we take these 6mm rivets. We need 4 of them. Okay. And I like to put this part through the back. So I'll add these. Okay. And then we will put the the strap here, flap strap. Oh, that's looking so good. Okay. And then we will add the caps. So cute. so cute. Okay, so let me put these back. See, I'm being good. I'm going to close that up so I don't spill rivets everywhere. Okay, now I just need to set them. But, look at that. So cute, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to set these rivets. And then when we come back, let me see. We're going to come back and we're going to do the front zipper pocket. Okay, so get ready for that. I'll be back. So now we're ready to do our front zipper pocket. So you should have your front zipper pocket piece, your front zipper pocket gusset, and your zipper with the pull attached, and the other part of your magnetic snap. Okay, what I've done is I marked the 4 quarters of my zipper pocket here, and I have reinforced where the magnetic snap will go. I just put a piece of Decaville Heavy, but reinforce it how you wish. And so, and I've also marked from the pattern piece, I've marked 3 of the 4 quarters. We're going to mark the other one after we've put this together. We're going to put this together in a ring, and then we'll mark the 4th quarter. Okay, so have those marked. So this is another piece that you may want to skive if it's too thick, as well as this piece. But again, I did not. So on the back, just like we've been doing, we're going to place some double-sided tape along this window here, out of the way of the window, like we've been doing. Okay. Have you noticed that there's lots of pockets here? I mean, that's such a good thing, right? So, I mean, who does not love pockets, right? Okay, so now where's my markings here? So when I go to add this, because I just want to make sure, because I only marked my quarters on one side. So when I go to sew this together, and then this gets turned back. So I want my zipper pull going in that direction. So just make sure that whatever side you have your zipper pull going in the right direction. Okay, so whichever way you want it to go. So I want mine to go this way. So I'm going to go ahead and check and make sure that it's centered like we've been doing. So get it all centered, nice and pretty. Okay. And then now I can go ahead, I'm going to remove one side here. Get that, check it again, make sure. Okay. Get it nice and straight. Make sure it looks good. Okay, and now we'll do the other side. And we will get that one lined up. There we go. Looking good. Okay. Okay. So, did I do that? Again, I'm just making sure that when I turn, yes, okay. Alrighty. So that looks good. Just make sure this looks straight. Okay. Make sure it's nice and even on both sides. There we go. So now we're going to top stitch around the zipper window. Okay. And what are we not going to do? We're not going to backstitch. Okay. And if you need your zipper foot for these, you go right ahead. I rarely ever switch to my zipper foot. Okay. Start the hand crank around these curves. It's been working for me. Go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull this to the back. Okay. Move my zipper pull out of the way again. Now we're in the home stretch. Okay. Get it right back where we started. All right, there we go. Okay. I'm feeling so accomplished here. Sewing leather. Ooh. It's so wonderful. All right, so we have that done. Okay, so now the next step is we're going to take these two ends, and we're going to overlap by 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so let me mark that. That's going to be about right here. Okay, I'll do the other side. And I'm just making a mark at 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to bring that and just overlap right there. But first, we're going to put a piece of double-sided tape there. So let me I'll grab a 1/4 inch. Now place it on one end. Okay. So we just placed a piece of double-sided tape, and I'm going to just place it right there on top. Just like that. So we have it like that, and I'm going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch. we'll tie these off. Okay, so now we have that sewn together. Now we're going to mark the other quarter, okay? So the instructions are to mark it 3/16 from that stitch. I'm just going to do it this way because that's about right. Okay, so it's about right there. Okay, so what I did was I just matched up the other quarters. Okay, so this is these 2 quarters and then that one right there. And so the other has to be here. And I just pinched it to mark. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and we're going to attach it to our zipper pocket. So we're just matching up the quarters. So of course, the zipper has to be on top. So here's the mark for the magnetic snap. So this would be the top and this would be the bottom. So the zipper part gets matched up here at the top, okay? And we are sewing these right sides together this time, okay? So make sure that the zipper is at the top, okay? And that it will be oriented the right way, if I get it right. Okay, so I'm just gonna match those quarter marks. So here's one, okay, and we'll just clip that. So we're gonna use these clips. And then the next, and it might be helpful to open up your zipper, okay, and we'll match the next quarter mark there. And then back here. Bottom. And I believe the pattern says, she's saying that this is the hardest part of this pattern. And then after that, well, I think doing the front zipper pocket, she says is the hardest part. So, and it's not looking that hard at all. I mean, it looks like everything is matching up really well. So we're just going to flatten that out and just clip your little hearts out. Okay, so keep that open a little. I think that helps. Okay, and we get around these curves. You don't have to clip. You don't have to put any snips in there. It should curve nicely and lay nicely. Okay. Just take your time. Okay. Now we're doing this. And we're going to sew this at a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Yes, 1/8 of an inch. Okay. All right, and one more over here. It looks like it's all fitting nicely. Okay. And to put one more clip. So we got lots of clips there to hold everything. So that's what we're dealing with right here. And that's, so now, see how it lays? It lays pretty flat. So we should have no problem sewing around this zipper gusset. So I'm going to decrease my stitch length since I'm sewing these right sides together. I'm going to decrease down to a 4. I've been using a 5. So now I'm just going to decrease down to a 4. So 1/8 of an inch. She says 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. And then we're going to do a second row within that seam allowance. No. Yes, we are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm at 1/8. And let's give this a go. And we can backstitch on this part. Okay. If you need your stiletto or whatever you use to go around these corners, okay, just take your time. Go slow, don't rush. If you have a 1/8 edge foot, this is the time to use it. I have the markings on my plate, so I'm just keeping it lined up there at the 1/8 inch mark. Just taking my time. Okay, making sure when I get up here by the zipper that the zipper is out of the way and it's laying flat. Okay. Jazzy, y'all beginning to hear me. I always talk about Jazzy because Jazzy is the third oldest of my 7 kids. And she always helps me record my videos. And she just got her report card and she's got a 4.7 grade point average. So she's pretty smart too. And she's a great dancer. Her and her 2 sisters, 2 of her sisters just got accepted to the Debbie Allen Dance Academy. So I'm really proud of them. And every time we do these videos together, Jasmine says, you make me feel like I could make that bag. So what I told her is one of these days, we're going to do a video where Jasmine is making the bag. So let me know in the comments if you want to see Jasmine make a bag.
And request the easy pattern.
And what bags do you think she should make? Don't give her nothing too easy.
You act like I have have sewing experience.
That's okay. You gotta learn. You gotta learn, girl.
I got scared sewing a quick square.
You gotta start, girl. Okay. All right, so got around there. That was not hard at all. You just take your time because everything fits so nicely and it lays nice and flat. So you don't have to force it, okay? So you see how nice and flat that lays. So when you turn it out, which we're not, because we have to do one more row of stitching, but I'm too impatient. I just want to make sure. See, no puckers. I just have to be a little nosy real quick. Okay. See? So look at that. Looks really good. So I'm going to do what I'm supposed to and go back around one more time. Okay? One more time. So, okay. Go. She says go back over within the seam allowance. After you stitch one, the second row of stitches just inside the seam allowance. Alrighty, so that's going to be really narrow there. Okay, but I'm going to follow. And we're going to do it again. This time should be even easier because we have it all together. There we go. All right. Yes, sir. Okay. That looks good. So let me just turn this out. Zip this up. Okay. All right. Looks good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so let me just take a little peeksy-weeksy at the pattern here just to make sure I know what I'm doing. Okay, so now we're going to add our magnetic snap, and we're going to glue the seam allowance down. And then we're going to go ahead and get ready to attach all this to our front panel. Okay, so going to go ahead and punch a hole for my magnetic snap. Okay, and remember I have that reinforcement there. So go ahead and punch that. And this one goes here, like that. And we'll add the cap. And I'll go ahead and set that. And then what we're going to do is So we're going to add glue here in the seam allowance, and a little bit right onto the back here, and we're going to glue that down. Okay, so it's nice and smooth in there. So that's what we're getting. So I'll do that. I'll go and do that and get that all glued down, and then when we come back, we'll get ready to attach this to our front panel. All right. I just wanted to clarify something. I misspoke about gluing the seam allowance inside the zipper pocket. It doesn't get glued to the back of the zipper pocket, but to the gusset part. So make sure you glue it up towards the gusset. Okay, and that gives you this nice clean edge. So sorry about that. So now we have our 4/4 marked on our gusset. We should have had that on earlier. And now we're going to have our slip pocket and then our front main panel, front panel. So I made the markings already for where I'm going to place my zipper pocket onto my slip pocket. I've also marked where I'm going, once this is all together, where we're going to place that onto the front panel. But right now we're going to get our slip pocket ready. So on the back, I've drawn a 1-inch line from the top. I've added a piece of double-sided tape there. She says that you can put a piece of nylon tape here at the top, a 3/8 inch wide piece of nylon tape, but instead I didn't have any, so I used Decaville Light. So I just fused a piece of Decaville Light across the top here. So we're going to remove the backing from the double-sided tape, and we're going to fold this edge over to the line that we drew. Okay, so just like that. Okay, and now we're going to top stitch across at 1/8 of an inch and then another at 3/8 of an inch. And again, we're not back stitching. Okay. So I put my stitch back to a 5. And I'm ready to go. Okay. And now at 3/8. All right, so now we've top stitched our slip pocket. I'm going to go ahead and pull those tails to the back and tie them off. And then we'll get ready to add our zipper pocket to this slip pocket here. That beeping, that's my iron shutting off. Alrighty. Okay. So now, like I said, we have our placement, we have our quarter marks. So first we're going to place a piece of 1/8 inch double-sided tape right within those lines. So right inside this, the placement lines. So keep it as close, but not going over the line here. I mean, Corinne, she's done an amazing job with this pattern. If you feel intimidated like I felt at first, once you start making it, it's just like all your fears just go out the window. She covers everything. Okay, so now we can remove this paper here. And now we're going to get ready to match up these quarter marks. So make sure the zipper's at the top, and we're just going to match those quarter marks right to the line there. So I'll do that. I'm gonna get all my quarter marks lined up first. I think that'll make it easier. Okay. Right here. And then here. Okay. All right, now start, pop that one loose. Okay, let me get that back down. Okay, now start to ease in those corners. Okay, get in and just ease them in. If you have to adjust a little, you will adjust, and just there we go. All right, the first corner is down, looking good. Okay, now let's go to the next. All right. That's good. And then the next. Okay. Go. And then the last. I'm going to open up this pocket a little. And I think it gives me a little more flexibility there. Okay. There we go. Alrighty. That looks great. So once that's sewn on. Look at that. That's gonna look so good. Okay, so it should flatten down and make it nice and easy for you to top stitch. So we're just gonna top stitch around the edge of our zipper pocket here, around that gusset at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so I'm gonna just start right down here at the bottom. Let me just check my bobbin real quick, because this would not be the time for me to run out of a bobbin. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Let's find a place to start. And let's go for it. Just make sure this is lined up good. Okay, that looks good. Okay, here we go. And like I said, she says this is the hardest part of the whole bag. And she doesn't make it hard at all. Okay, just push that down. Get your zipper down. Go slow around these corners. And then later I'm going to take a damp cloth and I'm just going to wipe off all my silver pin markings. Okay. Uh-oh, something got the dog barking. Every video he has to say hello. And today is his birthday. So he wants to be heard. Okay, this is going just dandy. Okay, we got one more corner and we're in the home stretch. And then while I'm at, okay, let me pull this to the back. I want to say a thank you to my sewing buddy, Sue Reed, because she knows that I do not sew with leather. And she gave me some good help on how to select my leather, what to look for. And so, thank you, Sue, if you watch. Sue is an excellent bag maker. No matter whether she's sewing leather or vinyl, it's always wonderful. Okay, so now we got that all done, and we can get it all fluffed back out and close up the zipper and admire what we just did and be so, look at that. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Ah, look at that, I did that. Yes, I did. Okay. So now we're gonna do over here, we're gonna get ready to, so we have the markings for placing our slip pocket onto our front here. So it's going to look like that. So I believe we're going to put the double-sided tape onto, let me just see which side she says. Okay, onto the slip pocket. Okay, so on the back here, we're going to add some double-sided tape, and we're going to put it right around this outer edge here. Just keep it right at the edge. Right. Okay, so once you have your double-sided tape on, then we can go ahead and place it onto our front panel here. Just make sure it's on good. Make sure it's centered. And lined up. So I'm going to start here. So we have markings on the side and on the bottom, and I'm just lining it up there, and then over here. And the same thing over here. All right. Alrighty, I think that's good. That looks good on both sides. Okay, so press that down, press that down. Alrighty, so it should look like that. Okay, and now we're going to top stitch just around here, not across the top. This is now where we have the slip pocket. So we do not want to close up our slip pocket. So from this corner all the way around up to this corner, we're going to top stitch. Okay, now I think I really am going to make sure, because I hear my bobbin jingling. Well, there's enough. There's enough, so let's roll with it. I think I can get around here. Okay, so let's get ready. Okay, we're gonna start. I just like to just double check real quick and we're just doing one row of stitching, just one row. Okay. So I'm gonna start right up here in the corner. And here we go. Here we go. Alrighty, right where I wanted to stop. Ah, yes, 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 yes. Okay, we'll tie these ends off And then we're going to add some rivets. We're going to add some rivets in the corners for extra reinforcement there. So okay. We're coming along. We're coming along. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so we're going to add rivets. She tells you where. So I know right here in the corners. And I'm also going to reinforce. So I'm just marking right where I'm going to put the holes there. And I'm just going to cut a piece of Decaville Heavy to reinforce. So I have a little scrap here. And I'm just going to place that back there to reinforce the rivets. So let me get my 8mm. Is that what I want? No. Okay. 9mm. I have my 9mm rivets. That 9x8 is what I'm using. So that was the next size up. So that's what I'm going to be using to, so I'll just punch my hole here. Ooh, I came out of there. And right here. And I'll do the same for these little pieces here. Okay. And grab me a couple of rivets. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead, put those rivets in and set them. Ooh, I'm getting so excited. Alrighty now, so we have our front panel done here. Let's get ready to grab our next pieces and come back and make more of our JeroniMore bag. Okay, so I'm back. We're ready to add our strap connectors to our gusset. And I just want to say, sorry, I don't know why I said one rectangle ring when I talked about the hardware. But of course you need 2 rectangle rings. But anyway, so grab your rectangle rings, your strap connectors, and your gusset. So there's some marks you have to make on each end of your gusset, and I've already done that. So the measurements are in the pattern. And then I've also added 2 pieces of double-sided tape on the right side of each strap connector. And then there's a marking that we have to make on the right side as well. And then on the back side, we also make a mark, and then we got more double-sided tape. I've added a strip of Decaville Heavy down the center of each strap connector. She says you could use Decaville, you could use Cordura, or whatever stabilizer you choose to use for your strap connectors. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to place our strap connector and we're going to center it, and it's going to, this end here is going to stop at the first line that we marked. Okay, so we'll make sure it's centered. Okay, it should be, let me just grab my ruler and just make sure that it looks about right. So let's see, that's about 5. Okay, let's see over here. Hold on. Let me move that out the way. Okay, so I think about right here, right there, and centered there, and about the same. Yeah. Okay, so about right there. Okay. About right there. We're going to, so we'll remove the backing off the double-sided tape. Okay. And we will place that just like that here. Okay. Okay. So it should look like that. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sew across that line and down around the other sides and back across. So that will hold our strap connector on. And then we're going to add our rectangle ring, and we'll fold this other end over to meet the other line. Okay. And so we'll have our strap connector, and then we'll sew and we'll top stitch around this part. So that's what we're doing right now. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start with this one. Let me move that out the way and give it a go here. Okay. So they're right sides together. Right sides together. That over just a tad right there. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so we should have that on just like that. Okay, so now, like I said, we're going to add our D-ring. So just slide our D-ring on, okay? And we are going to remove the backing on our double-sided tape. And we're going to fold it over to that second line and make sure it's nice and centered. Okay, let me look at it from this angle. Okay. Can come over just a little. Okay. That. Okay. There we go. There we go. Make sure it looks straight. That's not looking straight right there. I have to look at it straight on and make sure it's straight. Okay, now that looks better. Okay, so that's what our connector looks like. And now we're going to sew from here, from this point here, around and back up to that point. And we will not backstitch here. Make sure my eyes are not deceiving me because that looks a little, just a tad bit crooked right there. Okay. Yeah, that's better. It's important. It's important to get it straight. Okay, so now I'm going to sew around. Get it right there where I want it. There we go. And oops. My hand made a move. Okay, there we go. Okay. And back this way. Right there. Perfect. Alrighty. Okay. So now we have our stitches there, and we're gonna pull the threads to the back like we've been doing, and we will tie them off. Okay, and then we're going to add a couple of rivets here. Okay, so they'll be nice and secure. So what I'm gonna do, I'll do the other side, because I don't think you want to be bored seeing me do it again. And I'll add those rivets, and we will come back for the next step. Okay. Now you should have both your strap connectors on your gusset. They should look like this. Okay, so we can set this aside for a minute, and let's get our flap and our back panel. So the back panel is the one with the zipper and our flap. And we are going to get ready to attach that. So I have added double-sided tape on the edge here of the flap. And what we're going to do is we're just going to match it up right along this pocket edge. So we're just going to butt that up. So just like this, we're going to match that up. And I have the centers marked on both just to make sure. But it should match up like that. And we're going to top stitch. We're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to add another row of top stitching at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So remove the backing off your double-sided tape. And go ahead and get that in place. Make sure it's lined up great like that. Okay. So we should have it just like that. And we'll go ahead and get it top stitched. Did I ever change my bobbin yesterday? I don't think so. I said yesterday. Why did I say yesterday? I took a break and I came back and it's a new day. Wait a minute, did I change my bobbin? My days just all run together now. That's what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Put the new bobbin in because I don't want to run out. I'm just double checking. Yes, one at 1/8 of an inch and one at 3/8 of an inch. Our top stitching. Okay. That looks good to me. Okay, so here we go. And again, we're going to not back stitch. Now this is the point, like if you had skived these pieces and you were on a domestic machine, it would make it much easier for you to sew through. She covered all the bases. But I think my Juki should be okay with sewing through this. Put that over just a tad bit. Okay. And I'm gonna get it right there. Okay, so we have one row of stitching done. And now I will do the next. Okay. Okay, and it should look like that. So now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to tie these off, and then we are going to start putting everything together. So we get ready to attach our gusset to our front and back, and the exterior will be done, and all that's left to do is the lining. So we are making our way. Okay, so now when attaching the gusset, we're going to have to glue again. So I'm going to glue around, add glue 1/4 inch around the outside here, around the edge. So just no more than 1/4 inch. And I'm going to do the same thing on the edge of my gusset. So I'll take one edge of my gusset and I'll apply glue 1/4 inch. And I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and we will apply it. So I'll be back after I add the glue. So if you're working with me, go ahead and get your glue applied 1/4 inch. Let's start with, we'll start with this panel here, this back panel with the flap, 1/4 inch around the edge, and then also one side. Just do one side of your gusset, okay? And we'll come back. What I forgot to mention is when you add your flap, after you stitch it, then we're going to add some rivets right there in each corner. So I've done that. And what I've also done is I've applied glue 1/4 inch around each edge of the back panel. I did the front panel, and I did both sides of my gusset, because you do have to let the glue sit for about 10-15 minutes. So instead of just doing the one side and doing the other side later like I initially thought, I thought, well, let me just go ahead and just do all the edges. So I've done that. So I'm going to set the back panel aside for a minute, and I'm just going to take my front, and now I'm going to take my gusset, and we're going to start attaching. So just start at the top, and we're going to match up the top and the side edges. and just start clipping. Okay, and before I go around, I'm going to come around this way, and I'm going to do the other top inside and make sure it matches up nicely. Okay. Okay. And I'm just going to start walking it around, okay? What I mean by that is I'm just going to just start matching it up as I go, and I'm going to clip. Even though it's glued, but I still want to hold it with some clips because I don't want to stretch this out. Okay, so just match it up. Okay. And I'm just going to, I'm trying to do all the straight edges first. Everything should fit nice and snug. Okay, and just press it down as you go around the curves. Don't stretch your leather. And then I'll just start up here. Just make sure everything is fitting nicely. Okay, so just take your time. Make sure it's smooth without any buckling. Okay, and if it looks that way, just take it apart. The glue keeps trying to stick before I'm ready for it to stick. Okay, so that's why you really have to take your time around the curves because you really do want it to go smoothly and not look buckled. There we go. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay. Just smoothing it. Make sure it's lined up because these raw edges, we're leaving the raw edges, so make sure that they line up. And then we can always, if it's a little bit off, we can go back and we can trim it. Okay. All right, there we go. Alrighty. So we just add some clips. looks good. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to top stitch that at 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Okay, so she says sew with the gusset on top, which is what I'm going to do. And we can back stitch. So, okay. And you do have some stuff under here, so I just have to make sure that it does not shift. So I'm just holding on. Okay. Move the zipper up under here. Okay. Yeah, so it gets a little easier once you pass, because you have that pocket underneath, so, you know, you have to really press down. Okay. You make sure your corner stays smooth. And even. Just try to keep that pocket flat up underneath as much as possible. Okay, so we're coming on the other side. And this is, and then too, if you find it too difficult with your regular foot, then use your narrow foot or your zipper foot. Alrighty. Yeah, we made it around. All right. Wasn't too bad. Just have to take your time. Well, so look at that. All right. So this is where you would clean up any edge, anything that doesn't look great. Re-burnish that if you need to, or at the end when we're all done, we can edge paint. But I'm good for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the back panel and get the back panel attached the same way. So starting in this corner, get the corners lined up. Clip. Add a couple of clips here. Make sure everything is all lined up nice. do this side. This side done. And now, just like before, I'll just start working around these straight, get the straight edges clipped. And then we'll do the corners. I love when it starts looking like a bag. And I get so excited. And make sure you have your centers marked too at the bottom, so you can line those up as well. Alright, and we'll start working those corners. Get them in all smooth. Okay. So I'll finish clipping this, and then we'll come back and I'll come back after I sew up this other side. Well, so now we should have both our front and back panel sewn onto our gusset, and look at that. It's just looking so good. Oh man, I'm so proud of myself. But so now what we need to do is we need to just attach our buckle. So we have to add some holes here on the strap. So we're going to mark. So we're going to put some holes there for our buckle. The pattern says 5/8 of an inch apart. So, where's my small ruler? Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So I think I'm going to start here. And so just make sure it's centered. So, and we will mark 1. Okay, and then another 5/8 there would be 2, and another there would be 3, and I think we can do one more right there, and that will give us 4. So we can have 4 holes right there. So I just started at the tip, 5/8, and then I just marked 5/8 up, centered all the way up. And I was able to get 4. I think that's, so we have 4 markings there. So on my smallest punch here, I'm going to punch those 4 holes. Okay. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So now we're able to add our buckle. So we just feed our strap through, and I'll put it right there. Is that a good place? So I'm in the last hole. Let's see how that looks. Or the first hole from the top. Yep. And that's good. And then we just snap right there. And look at that. Look at that. Our exterior is done. So now we just need to do our lining, and we'll do our strap, and we will have our JeroniMore.